with The Connection Effect. I'm here with Ashley Branham with Lively Aesthetics. Today, we are going to talk about self-care and a few things that might be helpful to help you live a healthy lifestyle. So here's Ashley. I'm going to let her introduce herself and share a little bit about her.
Hi, my name is Ashley Branham. I am a licensed esthetician, and I've been licensed. I was just thinking about this earlier today it's been 7 years in February. Yeah, crazy. And my main passion throughout my whole career as an esthetician has really been how to help people kind of meet them where they're at. Instead of telling people like, here are all the things you need to fix, making sure that people know that they are loved and valuable wherever they're at in their journey, and then helping them get to where they want to go after they've already kind of found themselves, if that makes any sense.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
So I, as a life coach, I love hearing you say meeting people where they are, right where they are, and helping them achieve their best self going forward. So what are a few things that you do to help people get through maybe some struggles that they're facing?
Yeah, so people usually come to me more often than not because they have a problem. Usually with their skin. Sometimes it's like stress related and I'm going to go get a facial and relax. But a lot of times it's, I have this thing that's wrong with my skin, help me fix it. And the first thing that I do when I meet a new client is I make sure that they know that I don't use negative language when it comes to their skin. Like, I never tell anyone, oh yeah, you have really bad this, or it's a challenge. You have this challenge with your skin, and challenges are things that can be overcome. Challenges are not things that define you. They're not things that diminish your worth. They're things that could be improved upon. And I hope that my clients get that message. I certainly really try to relay that at every step, even not just from the first meeting, but every time I see somebody, they'll be like, oh, I had a really bad week and I have like this horrible breakout. I'm like, well, things happen, life happens. Maybe you had one or two many margaritas. And, now we have to pay that price, but that doesn't mean that, you're terrible or anything. So that's my biggest thing, is just making sure that people know that their struggles, specifically with their skin, do not define them as a person and don't diminish their worth as a person. I hope that my clients get that message, because that's really important for me that they realize that.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that was one of the reasons that I connected with you in this place, right? I had some skin issues that I had been dealing with for several years, and just thought it was time to try to rectify it, try to fix it. And Ashley was just incredible, helping me to establish a good self-care routine for my face and my skin, with recommendations and products and things. And my skin definitely feels so much better. And it looks better, it's healthier, it's much more well taken care of. So I definitely appreciated that. And I do tell her regularly how much I love it, and I appreciate it. So
I appreciate you.
So thank you for sharing that. I am curious, what does your typical clientele look like? Maybe your average customer or client?
So I know a lot of like the business coaches say, like, have an ideal client, have an avatar that you speak to. And I really struggle with that because I want to help everybody. I would say that my typical clientele they're generally female. They're generally aged 30s to 60s. So that's a really wide age range. But they're typically female and they're typically professional in the professional field.
Okay.
So that doesn't mean that that's necessarily my ideal client. I love helping men as well. I love helping everybody, regardless of personal identity, gender identity. I want to make sure that every single individual human being that walks through my door feels loved and accepted. At being a cis female myself, I tend to speak as if I'm speaking to other cis females. I'm trying to work on that and improve upon that because I don't want anyone to feel excluded. That's just naturally how I speak.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, of course. And so, what do you feel like if a client were to connect with you about a particular issue or maybe a concern that they have about their skincare or their routines, maybe, maybe 3 things that you might offer for them, as a first-time client, getting introduced to them and, establishing that connection with them.
Right. So when somebody first reaches out to me about wanting to take advantage of my services, the best way to get in contact with me is either through my Instagram direct messages or text messages, which my business phone number is listed across all my social media platforms. I don't love phone calls because there's too much room for miscommunications over the phone. When you're texting, there's a paper trail, basically.
Yeah.
So, if I do something wrong, I can very easily go back and say, oh, I'm sorry, I did misinform you, or, whatever the case may be. So reaching out via either direct messages or text messaging, and then we'll set up an appointment time. The best way to do that, and you don't even have to reach out to me, you can go straight to my website and schedule an appointment right through my website, which again is linked on all my social media platforms. But it's www.livelyspringfield.com, and you can schedule appointments right through there. Put in notes if you have any specific concerns. And then from there, I will reach out with confirmation text messages and then a consultation form right before their first appointment. I'll have them fill out all about themselves, why they're coming to see me, what concerns they have with their skin, what they would like to address. And then when they get here, I typically like to have them sit down and we'll have a little chit chat, a little conversation. I'll basically reiterate all the questions that I just had them fill out on the intake form. So it can be kind of repetitive, but I need to make sure that I get all of the correct information so that I can best serve them. And then once we have done all the formalities, they get naked under the blinkies, get nice and cozy, and then I'll come in and continue open conversation with exception of if somebody's just here to relax, I will just let them, you take a nap. I'll do my thing. It's not going to be very active facial, so like nothing disturbs their peace. But so I really like to make sure that I have as much information about somebody as I possibly can from start to finish. Once they're here, I will make suggestions for things that either treatments that I would love to see them do in the future that I think would really help or benefit them, products that I think could really benefit them. My thing, and I think a lot of other estheticians kind of mottos, if I can use that term, is that 80% of results are a response to what you do at home, and only 20% is on account of what I do in the treatment room. So recommending products, a lot of times people don't necessarily like to be sold to, and I 100% understand that. I try not to go at it from like a selling perspective. These are the things, these are the tools that I think would best benefit your skin and help you get to your destination quicker and more smoothly, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I hope that answered.
Yeah, yeah. So, and it did actually, it went through the process of becoming a new client.
Right.
So those are all really great points and great things to keep in mind. So I know you through having set up an appointment through Instagram. I started following you for some things to help my daughter, actually. And then set up an appointment for her and then also for myself. And I can say personally that it has just been a wonderful journey getting to know you and using all of your techniques and your recommendations, but also having that trust that you're giving me good advice and good routines and solid information that will really help me get to where I want to go with my skincare, because you know, everybody's skin is different, right? And you know this. And so, so with just that specific information, I wonder, do you have any maybe tips for people that have like particular concerns about their skin?
So, excuse me. If you are somebody, a lot of people struggle with acne. And a lot of people that struggle with acne later in life are surprised. A lot of us think that, you know, by the time I reach a certain age, I should have grown out of that. And that's not the case. Unfortunately, I wish that was the way life worked. The best thing to do with acne is to make sure that you're properly cleansing your skin. So I talk to a lot of people, and I am guilty of this myself as well. I get in a hurry and I just want to get the cleanser on and take it right back off. I recommend everybody cleanse for a minimum of 60 seconds. If you have to sing the alphabet while you do that, I'm not even kidding. I take my phone into the bathroom and I will put on like a YouTube video while I do my skincare routine. And I'll just watch a YouTube video or part of a YouTube video so that I have that stimulation. I'm not standing there bored in front of the mirror. I have ADHD, so that external stimulation helps me just to focus on the task at hand. Yeah. Cleanse for a minimum of 60 seconds. And if you are somebody that wears a lot of makeup or you spend a lot of time outside, like in the dirt, pollutants and things, double cleansing is also a huge game changer. So cleanse once, remove, then cleanse a second time, also for a minimum of 60 seconds, then remove. Then I do love a good toner. Swipe any residual water or cleansing residual off of your skin with a toner, and then apply any finishing products, serums, moisturizers, oils during the daytime, SPFs, things like that. But the foundational thing in a skincare routine is making sure you get that cleansing. It's an art. It's a science. Master the art of cleansing and your skincare game will improve tenfold.
Yeah. And that's so important because there are so many products out there that say whatever they say, all of the things, but yes, lots of things. But establishing basic skincare routine that will also help you, get better results and pretty close to immediately, right? And then maybe even just for future results as well. So those are really good points. And what about, so I know that when I am getting a facial, I get very relaxed, very calm, very kind of in my zen, because you've created that environment. You're so good at making me comfortable. What are some things that maybe if someone is coming in for a facial for the first time, or even other services, because I know that you do provide other services, what are some things that might help them feel a little more comfortable, if it's their first time or, just getting used to the process?
So especially for first-time clients, whether it's your first time period or it's just your first time with me, I treat you and I don't want to say this like to infantilize anyone, but I like to treat my first time guests as if they've never done this before, just across the board. Mainly because even if you've been to a different esthetician, we all work very differently. And the way that I do things may be night and day from your previous esthetician that you saw. So I like to lay out very clear instructions. If you're coming in for a facial, I tell everybody to undress at least from the waist up. If you're a woman, you can either take off your bra or tuck the straps under your armpits, get down under the blankets, head on top of the headband. You can take your pants off if you want to. It's all about comfort. We're not doing anything with the legs, but if you're wearing tight jeans, you don't want to have to be fighting that the whole hour you're laying there. Get comfortable. That's my number one. And if you don't want to take any clothes off, that is fine too. Just, voice that, I'm not comfortable removing any clothes. That's absolutely fine. I do strongly encourage it because if I can get access to your shoulders, I will give you a very nice shoulder massage. And I also just like to keep very open communication with people, especially if I feel like they're nervous. I ask a lot of questions. I ask them if they're comfortable with me asking questions or if they'd rather like stay quiet. And this product may tingle, and I tell them on a scale of 1 to 10, it shouldn't go any higher than like a 4 or a 5 or whatever the product is. So I make sure that I lay out clear expectations every step of the way so that they know what to expect. Because when it's your first time, especially, you have no idea what I'm doing. Your eyes are closed. You're like, okay, this stuff smells weird. It feels weird. Yeah. Oh, what's that sound? So I like to make sure that I give as much information as I possibly can to make everybody comfortable without taking away from the quiet, relaxed, Zen environment of the facial.
Yeah, and it really is the most assuring part of getting comfortable because, you've got someone that's touching your face, putting products on your face, all while you can't see anything other than maybe their mouth. But it creates a very close relationship, and I think it's important, as a life coach and as someone that advocates for people to work through their own struggles with relationships and boundaries, to know healthy boundaries and to be able to share that with someone that is, providing a service. So for example, a facial, or, any other personal services that may require up close attention, and acknowledging that, even I use your services and I'm very comfortable with you.
I don't take for granted the amount of trust that it requires for a person to come into a stranger's space, because the first time we meet, we're strangers. You might know me a little bit from my Instagram presence or Facebook, but virtually you don't know me. So the fact that you're even here in the beginning, I do not take that for granted. Then for you to disrobe and lay down, I don't call my facial table a bed, as some estheticians do, but I think beds imply other things might be going on.
Or sleeping.
Yeah, and I don't want. And some people do doze off, and I always feel so bad. I'm like, you're missing out on so much. But you're laying down. You're taking your clothes off. You're laying down in a strange, warm, bed-like surface. It's very intimate and unusual to have that level of intimacy with a stranger. Yeah, and I do not take that for granted for a single second.
Yeah, and I know that, and I appreciate that very much. I think it's also important to know that you have multiple services. I'm probably more than I even know of. So I would venture to say that you could probably just describe them much better than I could even try to guess what they are. So what are some of your services?
Obviously, I do facials. And I have, what I call a custom facial, which suits everybody. You come in and I do what your skin needs. Whether it's deep cleansing, hydration, whatever that may be. I also have different kind of upgraded facials. I do dermaplaning, which is the manual removal of skin using a razor blade.
Okay.
Sounds a lot more Sweeney Todd than it actually is. It's a deeper exfoliation. That also, bonus, gets the little baby hairs, removes the hair. So your makeup looks really good for a couple of days afterwards. And there's microdermabrasion, which is a similar concept to removing deeper layers of dead skin, but through a suction device. I have a hydrodermabrasion, which uses suction and water to exfoliate. I do chemical peels, nano infusion, micro needling. Those are all my facials. I have a body treatment, which is a total body scrub using custom blended sea salt, Epsom salt, and oils. And the purpose of that is to, exfoliate the whole body and hydrate the skin at the same time. I do not do massage, although I do lots of massage techniques, whatever area is exposed during treatments. And then the other main services that I offer would be body waxing. So whole body waxing, facial waxing, intimate area waxing. Now, caveat to that is I am not certified in what would commonly be known as male intimate waxing. And that's just a whole nother certification that I just have not gotten yet. So I can't, if you have a different anatomy than me, I can't help you there. But it's not to be exclusionary. It's just there are other certificates I want first.
Yes, yes. Well, but it's important to know and understand what you do have available. And maybe even if you could recommend, if someone were to reach out to you, that you could recommend for them.
I always do, like if a gentleman reaches out to me and asks if I offer that service, I say, unfortunately I don't, but here's a list of everyone that I know in the area that does, so that they can get the service that they require.
Good. So one of the things that I love the most about coming into your studio, your little oasis, is that it's so inviting. And so I would love to know, when you considered becoming an esthetician, what did you imagine it would be like? And is this what you wanted it to be?
So, full disclosure, I didn't know what an esthetician was.
Okay.
I originally, I thought I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to be a labor and delivery nurse.
Okay.
I had just had my oldest son, and I remembered how they made me feel. Like, during the whole process, I felt very cared for and loved. And so I thought, I want to make other women feel that way. It didn't work out, and probably for the better. I think that the healthcare industry probably would have destroyed me. Just my personality, who I know that I am, I would not have survived. Then I was complaining to my husband about, at the time, I was being very hard on myself that becoming a nurse was not panning out for me. Like, I was being very self-deprecating about it. And he said, well, it's just not for you, and that's totally fine. Why don't you become a makeup artist? And I laughed at him. I said, that's the stupidest thing anyone's ever said. But I thought about it a little bit more, and I started researching the process of becoming a makeup artist. And I decided to go to cosmetology school to get a certificate or a license to kind of put myself up ahead of the competition. And then while I was touring the cosmetology school, they mentioned, because, they ask you a bunch of questions. They're like, what are you interested in? And I was like, well, makeup. And they're like, well, you might actually be better suited for the aesthetics program, because they focus more on the makeup artistry side of things, and you don't have to learn how to cut and color hair, which I wasn't too excited about doing. And I was like, I've never heard of an esthetician before. Tell me more. So they described to me what that was. And I was like, well, that sounds really interesting. And we toured that section of the facility. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to become an esthetician.
Oh,
And so for a long time, I considered myself an accidental esthetician. What I now realize is that it was just the universe. Like, no, honey, you're over here. This is your path. And I mean, I've never manifested $100 faster than when I was trying to get that $100 application fee to apply for the aesthetics program. Everything, like all the little dominoes just fell into place. So to say like what I imagined an esthetician would be, I had to kind of be taught what an esthetician would be, and no, what I'm doing here was not what I was taught it should look like. But what I was also taught was one person's very small perspective of a very large industry. As soon as I graduated aesthetic school, I worked in 3 different places over the course of my career. One of them, I was only there for 2 days before we parted ways over differences of whether or not I deserved to be paid for my
okay. Goodness.
so, and the industry can be kind of cutthroat. Like
Yeah.
that. So I'm here now. This is my 4th job, but I'm self-employed, so I don't know if I can consider it a job.
Yeah.
And this is the happiest I've ever been as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I am 100% in control of just about everything. I can't control. The only thing I can't control is whether somebody decides to trust me or not. But I can control everything else leading up to that point. And before, like I never had that control. Never was able to direct the courting process of a client. They just were put with me.
Yeah, and I love hearing stories like this. So you felt like one path is where you were being led, but through that journey, you found yourself somewhere else entirely. And you're so, I mean, I can speak for myself personally that when you talk about self-care and skincare and just everything that goes into that, the routines and the day-to-day things that go into it, you light up. I mean, it is just incredible. And that, that's how I know just from a client perspective, but even just someone else out in the community to see you blossom and just really thrive. That's incredible. And I love that so much.
Thank you.
And, as a life coach, that's what I want to see for my clients. When we talk about going through the balance wheel, there are 8 segments and, you touched on many of them, even just, providing skincare as part of the body segment. But also the mind and the spirit and the heart, and how you have to be open to first navigate the journey, and then also being in the middle of a journey and seeing how much benefit it's providing someone else, that service and that the products and everything that goes into it, but also building that trust with someone and creating trust and creating that warm environment and allowing each person to just thrive through working with you. And so that makes my heart happy.
Thank you.
I love being able to witness journeys like that. I thrive on those things, obviously, because I'm an eternal cheerleader.
You are.
But I'm also very connected to my purpose in life, which is serving people and helping them find their passion and their purpose, and that really is so important and my navigating who I'm working with through the services that I receive. So, an esthetician, or, if I take my car to be taken care of, I want to know that that person has a good reputation, and that I'm not going to walk away having this terrible feeling. I relate a lot of things to feelings and emotions that are tied to services that I receive. But more than anything else, it helps me to live my life most optimally whenever I know that I can trust the people that are providing services for me.
'Cause if you go to somebody, even if they were highly recommended by a contact, and they turn out, maybe they're not a bad person, they're just not a good fit for you, it really it darkens the experience.
Mhm.
And then you just have a lower outlook on that profession, whatever that is, just in general, because you had a bad experience. And it shouldn't be like that, but as human beings, that's how we are. We have bad experiences, and we relate those experiences going forward until somebody gives you an alternative to believe in. So I think it's super important, no matter what you're doing, to do it with passion and purpose and with heart, because unfortunately, in this day and age, aesthetics is really popular. Everybody and their uncle is going to aesthetic school and getting licensed and starting their own businesses right from the beginning. And it leads to a lot of misinformation being shared, a lot of just lots and lots of not so great in the long run, in my opinion, things going on in the industry. And that makes me sad, because I love what I do and I want people to be able to trust me. And it makes me sad to know that there's so much noise that it's hard. It's just hard to find the real, genuine people and the connections through crowd.
Yeah, it can be very cluttered, it feels like, with services that are maybe they're subpar, or just not as adequate, as yours. And I can tell you, I've been to 2 estheticians in my lifetime. One was many, many, many years ago, and I didn't feel like I really even needed one then, but everybody else was doing it, so I felt like I should. And I left feeling very disconnected. Like it wasn't what I was looking for. Of course, I didn't really know what I was looking for to begin with. So coming to you and feeling like I could trust you because you were so honest about what you were doing, and the process of it, and then just also not trying to sell me things, but offering it as an alternative to what I was already doing. And that helped me with that process of trusting you, but also solidified that I had made the right decision. And so it just affirms that I was looking for a certain service or product, or industry. So yeah, industry, I guess, is, yeah, but it gave me an outlet in a way that was productive, is what I'm trying to say. And so I felt good almost immediately, but I feel very solid in making that decision. So
I appreciate hearing that. And I know I'm not going to be for everybody, and that's why there's so many people out there. Personalities. I take skincare and I put a very almost spiritual connotation to it, whereas somebody might just be like, no, just cleanse my skin, peel it, and send me out the door with some sunscreen. I don't want the fluff and buff. And that's totally valid. Absolutely, that's not me though. So
yeah, and it is very not you, which that's good for me, because I love that you are so you're knowledgeable, but also very grounded, and oftentimes you share information that may not even be specifically related to my skin, but just practices that you have and things that make up who you are, and how you connect to the rest of the world, as a person, and as a service provider. And to me, it's deeper than just you providing a service. It's like it is just, I can see this being like a friendship forever, because it's a genuine connection, which is what I thrive on, obviously.
The connection.
Yes. And so yeah. Okay, so I feel like we could just talk forever like this.
I absolutely could, because of my ADHD, we could go on for hours.
Yes.
You have
So I did want to know if you have any particular services or products or anything that you would like, if you have anything that maybe you want to suggest, or if you have any upcoming promotions or anything like that.
So, excuse me, upcoming promotions, none off the top of my head. Usually, I just kind of like, you know what, I want to do a special for this. I do know Mother's Day is coming up just around the corner, so I should probably put something in motion for that. So, the best place to find out if I am ever having promotions is to follow me on Instagram at lively_aesthetics_. You can also search 417 facials and I'll pop up that way. That's the best way to get updated on any specials that I put out in the future. Yeah. I am offering an exclusive special to anybody that catches this live stream. If you use code, I think I said Eden.
Or Connect 22.
Oh, Connect 22. That's what it was. When you go to book a service on my website, use code Connect 22 in the notes section, and you'll get 20% off. That's my referral discount. Whenever somebody refers a friend, they get 20% off, and their friend gets 20% off. So you're getting my friend's discount just for being here with us today. Thank you. And then I always recommend for first-time clients to start with a custom facial. If you're going with a facial, if you're going with a wax, you probably already know what you want. But if you're going for a facial, I always recommend starting with custom, because it's a great way for me to get to know your skin. It's a great way for you to get to know me and whether or not I am a good fit for you. And then we can design a treatment plan going forward from that first facial. I never want to jump in with the more advanced treatments with a first-time client. Even if you're somebody who's gotten them in the past, I have to have that hands-on experience of touching and seeing your skin before I'm comfortable doing those more advanced treatments, because of the risk involved. It's all about me keeping you safe, because the last thing that I want is to have somebody come in. Yes, I might make more money off of a chemical peel, but there's also so many more things that can go wrong if the skin's not properly done. So it's not, a lot of people get upset that I don't offer those more advanced treatments to first-time clients. It's all for their safety. Like, I would probably profit a lot more if I was a little bit more reckless.
Yeah, but that's good. It's good to know where to start. Even if you have particular concerns, to just schedule that custom facial using that code Connect 22, and then coming in and sitting down with you and going over those things. And then also, you know, if that person still decides to move forward with an advanced facial, then, you know, that would be the time to do it. And I think that would be a good practice in general for anyone that is really wanting to understand how to better themselves, you know, so just find out specifically what's going on and then move forward with something.
I'm in no way trying to compare myself to a doctor, but I feel like when you're starting up with a new doctor, if you're a new patient, they're not going to go straight into treatments from the
Mhm.
first visit. They want to diagnose, and then, if it's something that needs immediate attention, they will, but they want to get to know you that first visit. Then they have you come back the next one and do blood work and all that stuff. And that's sort of how I look at it. We want to get to know you. I want to see what your skin does, how it reacts to more basic things, treatments, and then we can, if your skin is strong enough and can handle it, we can do, the stronger stuff in the future.
Yeah. And I love that you are just making that a standard practice from the very beginning so that people know what to expect, and then also what the next steps are. Because that can be another thing, not knowing how the process works to become a client, but then also what happens when you do become a client, so just having all of that very established and very consistent for every new person walking through the door.
And that is a firm boundary. I've had people try to kind of manipulate that process before, and I won't be pushed around.
Yeah.
It's my license on the line. It's my insurance on the line, and it's your skin. I'm doing you a favor by not destroying your face.
Right. Yes. Well, and you want to genuinely help them.
Yeah.
And that's, that's the way to do it for you, for your practice and for your aesthetics. That's yours. And I think that's really, it's good. It's great to have that, and great for people to be aware of that. So, yeah. Okay. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share?
I can't think of any. Did you have any other questions for me?
Well, so you mentioned your Instagram. I definitely want people to check that out. Can you tell me again what that one was?
It's at lively_aesthetics_.
Okay.
And if you want, I can go back after this and I can put it as a comment underneath this video so that everyone can see it.
Okay.
That is the place that I'm the most active in terms of social media.
Okay.
Very active on my Instagram.
Okay. And then did you have any other places or any other information that might be helpful for contacting you, or?
All of my contact information is on my Instagram. Also, I do have a Facebook business page as well, Lively Aesthetics. And that I mostly have everything the same on there as well. Might be missing a few posts if I forget to hit share also to Facebook or Instagram. But I try to keep both. So all of the information is the same on both platforms, and that's the best way to kind of contact me is just to go into my Instagram bio and see, you'll see my phone number. It'll take you to my link tree, which has like my website listed and any other social media accounts that I have at the time as well. Yeah. All right. Try to keep it organized.
Well, you do a good job. She has lots of tips and suggestions in her social media feed. So if you ever just have a question about something or you're wondering about something, she definitely does really great about sharing relevant information, not just trendy things, but also things that you can use, free information on Instagram and on Facebook. Yes. Lots of mythbusters. And it's also good to kind of showcase your process, how you came about taking care of your skin and some of the things that you've encountered, but then also identifying with some of the other audience members, if they've had concerns or questions about their own skin and, really relating to them. So yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's all I've got for now, but thank you.
Thank you, Eden.
I am so glad that we get to share this with you. I love this series that I'm working on, connecting with other service providers in the community and around the world, actually. And I hope that anybody that's watching this reaches out to Ashley to ask her some questions, or to schedule an appointment to come in to see her. And if you have any suggestions for some practitioners or service providers that you would like to know about, definitely reach out to me, Eden Holt, or the Connection Effect. You can reach me through Messenger, or I'm also on Instagram at connection_effect. And I think that's all we've got for today. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see you later.
Bye.